So try and cram all that fitness training and technical work into your sessions, whether it's once or twice a week. And the unique thing about this workshop is it's coach-led. You know, there's no point me being here this evening and, you know, telling you what I do with my teams and, you know, going through the drills and you taking notes, because that's not what you do as a coach. Yous are all competent coaches, so I'm not here tonight to tell you how to coach. All I'm here tonight is to give you a few tips and a bit of guidance in terms of trying to make your sessions a bit more effective, particularly if you're trying to achieve, you know, trying to get the players fit and also technically competent. So that's the objective of the workshop. In order to do that, I mean, I've tried to simplify all the fitness jargon and all the technical stuff. So I've broken it down into I've developed the tier principles, and really it's very simple. Like, tier is the land or foundation of performance. So T is for time, I is for intensity, and R is for recovery. It's a really simple way of just applying the principles of fitness in your session with the sliotar, so you can get your players using the ball and the stick, get them technically competent and also get them fit at the same time, which is ideally what we're trying to achieve as a club coach or a development coach. So that's the objective. As I said, as I alluded to, it is coach-led, so it's not going to be me talking all evening. You guys are going to be doing the coaching. Sarsfields have kindly offered, we've got about 10 or 11 minors and senior camogues. Also, I see some of you have got sticks yourselves, so if you want to make up some extra numbers in the group when you do take the coaching session, just by all means join in and do the activities as well. But we've about 10 or 11 camogues, so when you're planning your activities to do, just bear in mind the numbers. Also, the ability is very mixed. So it's a typical scenario you might be facing as a club coach. You know, you can have mixed ability there, and the players, and maybe their fitness level is going to be mixed as well. All right, so it's the same sort of challenges, probably a little bit more challenging tonight because you don't know the players, and obviously everything's going to be off the cuff a bit. But I did set you some homework. So hopefully you got the email. Hands up, who didn't do the homework? Who's in the naughty book? Huh? Did anyone get the handout? No? Yeah, you did. All right, so some of you's got it. I have a few spare copies there. If you didn't get the handout, because what I didn't want to do tonight was I didn't want to be spending the whole night talking about fitness theory. All right, the objective of tonight is to get you coaching using drills and games that you usually use in your training sessions. All we're going to do then is a quick debrief after each activity, just to see how we can tweak the session, fine tune it to try and develop different aspects of fitness with the sliotar. All right, so that's the objective, and hopefully you know, everyone will actively participate and make it a really worthwhile evening for everybody. So I'm going to get you organised in the groups in a minute. The one thing I want you to do is there's going to be 3 groups. Okay, so 3 groups. I've got a sort of a structure there, just what you'll be taking. The objective is that each group will be assigned an objective to try and develop an aspect of fitness. So we're really focusing on all the main components of fitness, you know, so aerobic or, you know, stamina or endurance, anaerobic fitness or multi-speed or multi-sprint fitness, strength, speed, you know. So there's nothing particularly, sort of unusual there. But what we're going to focus on is basically you guys actually taking a session. You're just going to be coaching the group for 5 minutes. Okay, so I mean 5 minutes is it's not a scientific number, but it's usually a good length of time to have an activity. Most particularly younger players, their attention span is maybe 3 or 4 minutes. So most activities you do with the players, even senior players, it's probably better to just keep them to about 5 minutes and then move on to something else. All right, it's probably easier to keep them engaged. All right, so in terms of the activities you're going to do tonight, The thing I want you to be attentive to is the work to rest ratio, all right? And that's basically very simply how hard they're working for, the intensity, how long they're working for, and then how long they recover for. They're the TIR. Just I want you to try and think about those things when you're planning your activity. In terms of intensity, that's the key. The intensity of the activity is the key. So what are the sort of things that you look for in a coach to determine how hard your players are actually working in the session? What are the sort of things that you tend to look for? Yeah, if they're out of breath, very simply. If they're out of breath and they can hardly speak, it means obviously it was a fairly tough session, or they're working pretty hard. If they're able to chat away and they are chatting away, then you're probably not working them hard enough. So the talk test is a really simple way of gauging the intensity. Also, the other one is deterioration in form. So if you've got them doing some technical stuff and all of a sudden they're dropping the sliotar, they're mishitting the ball, whatever, that's usually a sign that they're getting pretty tired and they're losing concentration. So they're the sort of things I just want you to think about. So when you do your activity, I've asked everybody to have a think about how you would make that activity harder or a little bit easier for the players, depending on how they're coping with it, okay? So the simplest way to do this is if I just get you in the three groups, A, B, and C, and then I'll get you over here, get you organised. What I'm gonna ask you to do is you're gonna be in a group of maybe about 8 to 10, okay? So you could probably, the people that have done their homework, they can maybe take the lead because they'll know what they're doing, all right? So if you haven't done your homework, or if you're feeling, maybe you don't want to lead the session, then by all means you can just take a back seat. But obviously we need someone or one or two coaches in the group to actually take the session. So I'm going to give you about 10 minutes to get organised and get your stuff set up. You're only taking the players for 5 minutes, so 10 minutes preparation time is more than sufficient, all right? Especially if you've done your homework and you know sort of exactly what you're doing. You're basically going to be doing stuff that you normally do in training, all right? That's what I'm asking you to do. There's the stuff on it. There's instructions here. There's also loads of examples. So if you can't think of anything in your own group, if you can't think of anything to do, there's loads of examples in there what you could do. So just take some of those.
Okay, switch it up. Switch the two people in the middle. And we'll go again. That's it.
Far enough. Just between the weights.
Right, switch it up now, out to the yellow cones.
Just keep going, guards. Going to the yellow. Keep going. Good.
Five seconds. Push it out. Get those balls cleared. That's it. Call that and take a minute to yourselves now.
So the objective here is aerobic fitness, stamina, and this would be the sort of thing, early in the season, pre-season training, you'll be trying to build up a bit of an aerobic base, a stamina base, and also strength as well. So early in the season, your focus would be more on aerobic stuff and strength. So the key with aerobic training is typical stamina training. It needs to be sustained for a period of time, but it's not just be careful about the intensity. Intensity shouldn't be any more than sort of 3/4 pace. All right. Once it starts creeping above that, the player's going to get tired very, very quickly, so they won't be able to sustain it for very long. So just focus on the intensity. Obviously, you're going to be doing anaerobic, so your focus is going to be on a higher intensity and no more than 2 minutes. So whatever your activity is going to be, it shouldn't be any more than 2 minutes. Maybe 1 minute. This time of year, 1 minute is more than enough if they're working at 90% max. Okay, so 1 minute, and then you need at least twice as much recovery, or 3 times as much recovery, and then you can have them doing anything you want. You know, working the player in the middle, you know, passing, striking, shooting, whatever. Okay, or even small-sided games. Okay, so so work really hard for 1 minute or 2 minutes, and then they recover for 2 or 3 times as long. All right, the aerobic session is the intensity is a lot lower, and the duration's a wee bit higher, and the recovery periods are a wee bit shorter. All right, everything's with the ball, so they're still getting plenty of technical competence, but they're also getting fit as well at the same time. So that's the objective.
Yeah. So number 2s are going to be striking from the left hand side. Number 1s are going to be catching, hand passing whenever they get round past them. Number 2 is going to strike on. Number 1's going to catch, hand pass. Number 2 is going to strike on. Once you've done 1 lap, the other number 1s then will take off and do it. And girls, we want to be doing it at speed. So it's not a wee gentle jog. We want to be doing it fast. We want to see the balls, all the balls moving fluidly. Okay? Neil, can you time 5 minutes? Keep moving on, girls. Keep moving on. Don't wait for the hand pass. Run round and wait for the hand pass. The hand pass should come to you. Run you round and wait for the hand pass. Right, girls, once you've done it once, back to your post and then swap. Number 2 is taking it. Okay, right now, number 1s again will be going from this direction. Keep to the outside of the cones, girls, so you're not running in front of that player. You should be passing the ball, running round, and then waiting for that ball to come from a hand pass as you're moving around. Right away you go. Good girl. Keep up the momentum, girls. Okay, once you have done 1 or 2 laps, swap it or keep going again to the right hand side, but swap the person at the cone. Right, do you need to be going this time? Aye. Right, girls, swap it up. The person at the cone is going to be doing the running. That's it, that's it. Keep the momentum going, girls. Try and aim it. Think about where you're hand passing that ball. You want it to go to your teammates. Right, girls, let's make this last 10 seconds count. Really fast, keep it going.
So look, the objective there was to try and build in a bit of stamina training into your drills and activities. So from my perspective, that definitely met the objective there. They were working for at least a minute, and then they're recovering. So for stamina training, it's usually a work to rest ratio, 1 minute on, 1 minute off. So yeah, in the groups there, they had half of the group were working for a minute, and then the other were recovering, and then they just switched it around. So from that perspective, you know, absolutely perfect. The thing I would suggest is just if you are trying to build in fitness into your drills and games, you need to communicate the intensity to the players very clearly. So You know, the only thing I would have observed with those two activities that maybe the players weren't crystal clear what intensity or, you know, they need to be working at. So if it's for aerobic, it's usually about 3/4 pace. So just keep reminding them, because some players sometimes will maybe go off too hard and maybe they'll blow up after, you know, 30 seconds or whatever. So just communicate the intensity at the outset so they know what sort of pace they're going at. So maybe 3/4 pace. For Group B, Group B is now going to be doing some anaerobic stuff, which is multi-sprint fitness, high intensity, 90% plus. All right, so you're not going to be going more than 2 minutes, but you need to be communicating to the players that we're going just short of maximum. You know, so there's different ways you can talk about sub-max pace or whatever, or go flat out, or, you know, if it's speed or just 3/4 pace. So just make sure the players are clear in terms of the intensity. But apart from that, those two activities are absolutely perfect, you know, for trying to build in a bit of stamina and endurance, and a lot more interesting than running laps around the pitch. Don't you agree? Yeah. So okay, so Group B is going to take us through some anaerobic stuff. Time-wise, I'm keeping an eye on the clock here, so time-wise, perfect. A few seconds over 5 minutes. So
Okay, so we're going to do a quick sprint session here. There in the middle is going to go to receive the ball at the red cone. They're going to have a hand pass and hand pass it straight back. They're going to go back via the orange cone to the next player, and again hand pass back, and then to the last player. Okay, we're going to do that 2 rounds. Okay, you're going to do 2 laps. So it's no more than 30 seconds, and that's going to be, then we're just going to change the next one in. Okay, so we'll try and get everybody a rotation. Yeah.
The one thing about trying to integrate fitness training into your technical stuff is you need to be really organised, and you need to do everything on the clock. So a stopwatch, I recommend, is a really good investment if you haven't got it on your phone. All right.
Same again, ready? Go. Yeah, you'll need a ball. Good. Keep going. And again, go straight away. Next one. Nice and sharp. 10 seconds. Good. Nice one. Change here. Next one in. Ready on the timer. Go. Good. Keep moving. Right to the red cone, all the way through. Go to the orange. Good stuff. And again, passing back. Good job. Good job. Keep going. Change it out. Go to the green player in. Last one, guys. Ready? Go. Go. Quick pass via the orange cone. Good, well done. Nice hand pass. Good, keep going. Same again. Good, nice. Good job. On time, have a rest. Well done. Good job. So next one, if we want to go again, guys, we can wrap that up. We can go to a stick pass and we'll receive it from the floor. Or you can go overhead into an overhead catch, or just a hand pass, a short pass to the hand, and just to try and move that pace up a little bit. Okay, so let's go to the floor. Let's take it from the floor. So a pass, tap pass to the floor and receive. Yep, and back. Good job. Keep going. Keep that pace, keep going. Good, sprint it out. Good. Good job. Change. Let's go. Who's in next? Yep. Ready? Go. Up and away. Well done. Keep going, keep moving. Keep going, keep going. Good job. Keep going, push hard, keep going, keep going. Good, last one. Good. Next one, ready? Go. Try and make it via the orange cone. On your pass, good job. Good. Well done, keep going. Good. Good. Last one.
If we go with Group C, they're going to do speed and agility in about 5 minutes. So it's absolutely fundamental. All right, but to train anaerobic fitness, it's very taxing on the system. So you shouldn't really be going any more than 2 minutes. All right, so that drill there was perfect. Can anyone tell me what the work to rest ratio was there in terms of the group size? 3 to 1. Perfect. Perfect for anaerobic type fitness. So 3 to 1 or 1 to 2. 1 to 2 or 1 to 3. All right. So you work for a minute, you recover for 2 minutes or 3 minutes. Well, maybe, yeah. What's it? Another player. Yeah. Perfect. If you want to make an activity a lot more intense, get another player involved. As soon as the ball's contested, you really ramp up the intensity. Any of you have done the GA awards, level 1 award, level 2 award, you'll be familiar with the term step R, all right, to make it more challenging or assist the player. So S stands for, anyone? Space, all right, you can adjust the space, will make it harder or easier. T's for time, so make them work longer or shorter. E's for equipment, so introduce an extra ball or take a ball away. P's the number of players, so as soon as you get another player involved, it's a one-on-one, it really ramps up the intensity, all right? And the final ones are, so you can just modify the rules slightly, so just make it harder or easier for the players.
When you're saying add a player, do you mean add a player to tackle the person receiving?
Yeah, so 2 players in the middle is a one-on-one in the middle, and that would really ramp up the intensity. I mean, it was intense enough as it was, but say you're in the competitive season and you really wanted to work them hard for 1 or 2 minutes, adding another player would really ramp the intensity up. Because even though you're saying to the player, I want you to go 90% max, really, really hard, they might be holding back a wee bit. But if you get another player involved, all of a sudden, like, it's way up there, like, you know. Okay, so next group's working on speed. So the principles behind any speed development is they go flat out. So you've got to do whatever you want to do as quick as you can. But remember, speed is multifaceted. So speed could be speed to the ball. It could be speed with the ball. So it could be soloing speed. It could be hand speed on the hand pass, striking speed. All right, it's very multifaceted. It really depends on what, if your players are second to the ball, you need to focus on pure sprinting speed to get them from A to B as quick as you can. All right, if they're not particularly fast of a transition from defence to attack or whatever, maybe you increase their soloing speed or whatever. All right, and their passing speed. So it's really up to you as a coach to determine what sort of aspects of speed you want to work on.
Change them on the middle. one that has the ball, give her a shout. As soon as you get through the one ball, the next person give her a shout. And change the one in the middle. Somebody else there. Where you go, keep it going.
So that's a nice drill because the focus is on more about speed of thought. So we're obviously having to try and anticipate where we're getting the ball from next before they even get it. So it's not about like sprinting speed and getting from A to B as quick as you can. It's more about the speed of thought and trying to obviously they're working under pressure and having to make a decision to obviously where they're going to be going next. Yeah.
And change again. Next one in. Somebody else that hasn't been in.
All right. That's good. I like that one. Yeah. Yeah. No, I think it's because because it's good because it's sort of like speed is all about speed of thought as well. Yeah. So they need to anticipate where they're getting the ball before they actually even to start. Yeah. So that's it. So it's good. Yeah. Yeah. Aye. Yeah. So it'll improve their speed of thought. So when they're under pressure and have to make the right decision, it means they make the right decision.
And change again, last person.
Yeah.
Look at the intensity of this group versus the other group.
That's what I'm saying. Like fitness, that one is more about speed of thought, and making the right decision, anticipating where you're getting the ball from, things like that, which is important as well. But obviously, if your players are sacking the ball all the time, you need to improve their speed from A to B. So maybe your focus and training is going to be slightly different. But that's good for putting the players under pressure and getting them to make the right decision under pressure. So.
Okay, girls in the middle, keep going. This time, girls in the middle, you just drop the ball and you have to jab it through. Okay, and go on in. No, you stay. Where you go? Okay, this time just drop the ball. Yep. Okay, this time in the middle. Okay, all you're going to do is lob the ball up in the air and let her catch it. Okay? Lob the ball in the air. We'll just do a few of these. Okay, lob it up in the air for her. Catch and run.
Okay, so the objective there for the last two activities was speed and agility. Okay, for a camogie and hurling, speed and agility is probably the most important aspect of fitness out of everything. All right, the way the game is played now, speed and agility is absolutely critical. All right, so the thing about speed and agility is it's multifaceted. There's different types of speed. It's, as I alluded to earlier, it's speed to the ball, moving from A to B as quick as you can. It's speed with the ball, whether it's soloing speed or striking the ball or whatever. And then obviously drills like that is speed of thought. So you're actually improving speed of thought and you're getting players to make decisions under pressure, anticipate where the ball's coming from. All of those aspects are important aspects of speed as well. But if you need to decide as a coach, if your objective, if your players are always second to the ball, okay, you need to work on a basis of getting them from A to B as quick as they can, all right? So you need to be doing a lot of drills which involve maybe a 50-50 ball, and players are, you know, are sprinting from A to B to get a 50-50 ball, all right? You can guarantee they're going to go flat out, all right? The last couple of activities, they weren't going as fast as they can, so the drills are probably more akin to like type of anaerobic type drills, but nevertheless, they were developing the speed of thought and actually getting them to make a decision under pressure. So that's important as well. But if you need players to be fast, moving from A to B, to get to the ball before their marker, then you really need to think about drills like going for a 50-50 ball or on the whistle, very, very simply. There's a lot of examples in the handout. So if you didn't get the handout, make sure you tell Ryan what your email address is and he'll send the handout, because the handout has got all the theory stuff, but it's also got a lot of examples of things you can incorporate into your sessions, which are practical and involve the sliotar, all right? So the thing about speed development, all right, is the question I'm asked most about is when do you do your speed training in the session? For developing speed, the players need to be absolutely fresh. They need to be fatigue free and fresh. So you need to do speed and first touch, all of that stuff early in the session. Your anaerobic stuff, your strength stuff needs to be done later on, because that's going to knock the players out. And any technical stuff you do with them, any speed stuff you do with them, first touch or whatever, it's gonna be affected quite significantly if the players are tired. So try and do your speed and first touch stuff early in the session and do everything else a bit later on, all right? Any questions about that element of the training, or no? Yeah. Does it make sense? Yeah? Okay, so we're just gonna finish off a bit of strength and a bit of crack, because the girls have been working really hard. And before they go, make sure you thank them, because if they weren't here, you'd be doing it, all right? So make sure you give them a big thank you before they disappear. Okay, so, okay ladies, you ready? Last one.
Stop. Partners, Ryder. Switch partners.
This isn't going to be fair though. I'm much bigger than these girls.
There we go. Pull your legs. Just a third or second one here, coming out on the deal. This time down in the press up position. Whole idea is to try and grab his hand, get him to fall. You're trying to get the other person to fall, try and stay with the feet out and try and get them to fall down. Go ahead, once you're down, where you go. Switch partners. Once you're down, where you go.
Actually, we're doing good for time actually. I cut out a couple of the activities there, so there's plenty of time, plenty of opportunity now for any questions or anything.
This is the last one. Sounds good. You just watch the third one. We'll get the other line again. Down their knees. And it's just resting, trying to get him down, or he's trying to get me down either side. Just trying to push them over either side. Spread out a wee bit, spread out a wee bit. There we go.
Sorry, you can
Come on, switch partners. This is the last one, girl. Here we go.
Core strength, arm strength, whatever. So absolutely met the objective. In terms of strength training, look, you are limited to some extent trying to build in a bit of strength training on the pitch. I mean, if you really do need to increase the physicality of a team, and you do need to work, if you're working with an older team, you know, minors, maybe seniors, and you really need to work on their physicality, and it's probably going to be quite difficult to sort of simulate that environment on the pitch. So you might need to consider maybe a gym session a week or whatever. But it needs to be a supervised session, because particularly if you're working with young men, you know, most of you are camogie coaches, but some of you I know are hurling coaches as well. Like if you send your young fellas down to the gym, they end up looking like Christmas turkeys. They're all arms and chest and no wee skinny legs. So if you are gonna send them down to the gym, maybe send someone down who knows what they're doing or whatever. But as you can see, you can do a lot on the pitch, particularly with younger players, where you're not really going to be sending them to the gym. You do need to try and introduce a bit of crack and a bit of strength training on the pitch, and there's loads of different things you can do. There was a lovely couple of examples there. There's lots of examples in the handout as well. So in terms of the biggest challenge for you as coaches is trying to cram all of that into one session. So what I've tried to do in the handout is to give you some idea about the different types of focus that you need to focus on maybe at different stages of the season. But a lot of it will depend on the squad you're working with as well. I mean, you'll know the squad you're working with, you know what their weaknesses are and what their strengths are. So the type of fitness you focus on will be determined by the squad you're working with. You know, so you might decide that your squad are actually, they've got loads of stamina, but they're just not very quick. So you're going to focus a lot on speed and agility in the training sessions. So obviously this is a changing landscape. It will depend on your squad. But there are general rules of thumb about the structure of the session. As I've alluded to earlier, any speed work you do, any first touch, any stuff that's very technical, a lot of skill element to it, it does need to be early in the session when they're fatigue free. All right, otherwise the quality will just go out the window. All right, so you don't want to be doing things like strength work and anaerobic stuff, which is particularly high intensity. You don't want to be doing that early in the session. You want to be doing that later in the session. Aerobic stuff, it's only about 3/4 pace, so you could do that first if you wanted to, and then do your speed work. But that's the general rule of thumb. When you get into the competitive season, the focus is going to be a lot more on speed and agility and anaerobic. So it's all going to be high intensity with lots of recovery. All right. Early in the season, it's going to be trying to build a strength base and a bit of stamina. All right. And then obviously doing all that with a slither and trying to build up their technical competence as well. It's not easy. As a typical club coach myself, you know, taking development squads, it's really, really challenging to try and integrate all of those things into a session. So if you're endeavouring to do that, you have to be super organised, and you really need to stick to your time. So invest in a stopwatch, because that's going to be critical. From a time management point of view this evening, everyone was spot on, like, so well done from that perspective. Some really good coaching going on. So, you know, as I alluded to earlier, this session was not about me trying to tell you how to coach, because you all know how to coach. I'm trying to give you a few tips maybe and just help you try and get the best out of your sessions and make sure they're as effective as they can be. So hopefully you've picked up a few things this evening. I mean, we've still got another 5 minutes or so, so if there's any questions or anything, you know, I might not have the answer, but I'll certainly find out for you. But well done, like everyone, you know, well done. So any questions, any, no?
A warm up. I know
Yeah, no,
the girls moving and
yeah,
stretching.
yeah. Well, like warm-ups, it's not rocket science, but I think the principle of the warm-up is to get them warmed up. So you want to do activities that raise the pulse and get the muscles warm. All right. The last thing you want to be doing then is a load of stretching where they're getting cold again. So particularly this time of year and earlier in the year. So look, the warm-up is not rocket science. It's pretty straightforward. You need to do activities which are obviously introduce a bit of technical skills as well. Get them warmed up and try and do some more dynamics. Dynamic stretching is things like lunges, just sumo squats, just basically anything that's stretching the muscles, but they're doing it while they're moving. That means you keep the muscle temperature up. So try to avoid a lot of static stretching where you're basically holding the muscle for 10 seconds or more and then doing a few stretches like that. Try to make your stretching dynamic, but you do need to do stretching, particularly with commodes. With females in particular are very prone to knee problems and ankle problems. There's this thing called a Q angle with females, where if you ever see females running, very often their knees will come together when they're running because of the wide hip angle. So girls and females are particularly prone to things like knee ligament problems, or tearing the ligaments or whatever, particularly with surfaces like this. With the new surfaces and the grip in the new surfaces, players are picking up a lot more sort of cruciate ligament injuries and things like that. So the warm-up is particularly important for commodes. And you need to be doing a lot of stuff like lunges, side lunges, a lot of stuff on the knees and squats, just to get the knees mobilized, and trying to, the GA have actually developed their Activate warm-up. So if you're not familiar with the GA's Activate warm-up, I think Declan, you're probably involved in designing it, were you? Yeah, a little bit. So we've got Declan here. So if any of you are interested in any sports science, he's the man to pick his brains. So basically, yeah, just with don't skip the warm up is what I'm saying. Particularly with commodes, you need to have a good thorough warm up, and maybe plenty of knee exercises, knee stretching, just to make sure that you can obviously reduce the risk of any knee injuries during a match or training. All right. Obviously, some of you are working with under 10s or whatever. I mean, your sessions are not going to be maybe as scientific as maybe older groups, but the principles of what we've discussed tonight are pretty much the same for all age groups. But obviously you need to modify your sessions. If you're working with under 10s, under 12s, the kids love to run, they love to race each other, so you can incorporate that into the training. But just be attentive to the differences in size as well, because particularly under 14, once with girls, commodes and hurlers, under 12, under 13, under 14, you know yourselves as coaches, some are my height and then some are about that height. So just be attentive to obviously differences in physical maturity as well, because obviously when you design your drills, particularly if they're contested, as I said, if you didn't get the handout, make sure Ryan's got your email addresses. He'll fire it out to you. My contact details are on there, so if you've got any questions or things you want maybe to run my eye over, I'd be very happy to do so. But look, well done, and hopefully I'll bump into you somewhere further down the line. Okay, so all right.